Well, good morning. Hopefully, Sainsbury's is well known to you. You may not know that we celebrate our 150th anniversary this year in a few weeks' time. We were disappointed not to be part of Darren's history lesson earlier, but as a business that's been around through many of those transformations, I think what we'd like to do today is just share a little bit about what Sainsbury's looks like today, and particularly our digital transformation. A business 150 years old can only survive with partnerships. And we've got two partnerships we really want to focus on. Firstly, the partnership that I have with Clodagh. Clodagh is the Chief Digital Officer in Sainsbury's. We both sit in the operating board, and we basically are very close conspirators on how we drive digital transformation in our business. And the responsibility splits broadly. What and why we do digitally is very much Clodagh's vision, and then the how and when we enable that is very much my job. So without further ado, let me pass to Clodagh to talk about the first bit of our story we'd like to share with you today.
Thanks a million, Phil. Good morning. So wow, has our landscape changed over the last 150 years. We started with 2 lovers. We've now got 195,000 colleagues. From 1 store to over 2,500 shopfronts nationwide. And from one single physical over-the-counter proposition, we now are online, offline, self-service, hands-on, whenever, wherever. And as the world moves on, and particularly our digital ambition moves on, we are really reliant on very strong internal partnerships and very strong select external partnerships. So as Phil mentioned, the technology and digital teams have a symbiotic relationship. Without Phil and his function, I might as well pack my bags and head home because we'd be nowhere. Our teams are fully integrated, aligned as much as possible around outcomes and co-located. And boy, was that necessary. So as recently as, and this is airing dirty laundry, as recently as 2 years ago, when you entered our website as a customer, you had a different experience depending on which interface you were using. Some of the pages that you touched on were operating at double the load speed time as they are today, and our uptime, if you believe the trade press, which on this occasion you should, was not where it needed to be. Couple that with a world where our competitors were innovating and releasing fast, challengers were fast in front, and we had digital product queuing up behind 5 to 6 release cycles a year. It was not a happy place for anyone. So hence, cue the cavalry.
So this is the second part of our partnership story. Obviously, our partnership with AWS goes back beyond our groceries online migration, but really, I guess our cloud-first strategy and our relationship with AWS really kicked off at the point we decided to answer the questions that Clodagh had, was to take our groceries online business and rebuild it in the cloud. And this was effectively taking a WebSphere e-commerce monolith with an Oracle RAC rack database and moving it, modularizing it, and putting it into AWS. That movement of rack to RDS and that big database migration was all done using AWS services, and now we have a fully fledged cloud native-ish service that runs groceries online across all our business today. We make huge use of, as you'd imagine, the compute services, and today we run about 80% of our groceries online with EC2, and 20% is serverless. So we also use other security services. The outcome of that migration has been significantly transformational for our business. 30% less infrastructure. We routinely now see transactions on the website and batch processing 70 or 80% quicker and more performant than it was before. That migration was a 7 terabyte migration to this date, and touch wood, we've had no major outages. As Chloe said earlier, the release cycle has gone from 5 or 6 releases to multiple daily releases. And inside that migration, there were a number of world firsts. We were taking Oracle products and moving them to the cloud on AWS for the first time. So we're rightly proud of both the project and the impact. And again, a partnership between us, AWS, and other businesses like Demon Consulting were heavily involved. So that's one aspect of our transformation. Let's talk about Nectar and data next.
Sure thing. Can you tell why he's my hero, right? So when we were talking about Nectar, 70% of our customers engage with Nectar. Now, Nectar is predominantly an analog, card-based loyalty scheme. And it as an entity wasn't part of our family. And we as Sainsbury's wanted to shift the way we thought about loyalty, reward, and engagement, becoming more digital first, centering around a decision engine, which is around the next best customer message, as opposed to the next best commercial message, and empowering our customers to then decide which offers they wanted, at what part of the journey, and how they wanted to use them. There is a very long story for this, but the short version is Nectar and Sainsbury's are now one. And as we joined forces, we released a trial in the Isle of Wight coming up a year ago now, and then have scaled that slowly through Wales. And what we are seeing with that engagement, which is, as we say, digital first, engine-based, and really interactive, is engagement, weekly engagement, has improved 5-fold, even in that short space of time. So the job at hand is to dev release, and to get some amazing functionality out nationwide over the coming months. And once we've done that, the scope of reach for us and our Nectar partners just builds from there.
So this touches on the second part of the digital transformation we were talking about, and it's really more a data transformation. We've been on a journey for some time now, 4 years, give or take, around applied data science and machine learning. We've assembled the right resources, we've hired great people. Our chief data scientist, Ender, is in the room today. So it's a long journey. We've been working very hard at creating that single customer view. Nectar really helps us with that. We believe now we have a pretty unique data set for the UK in terms of what we understand about our customers. And we've had to go about rebuilding our whole data ecosystem to do that. AWS and serverless has been absolutely key to our ability really to move on and productionize algorithms and drive machine learning. Prior to us using AWS and serverless technologies, we were really struggling to get traditional IT methods to support us in what we needed. And I'm pleased to say now, both in terms of Nectar and thinking around customer data and preference, but also in many other areas of our business, we're now starting to see real tangible transformation through the application of data science. Things like our ability to replenish shop, so we bring a roller of goods into the back of a store, and we will break that store nowadays based on an algorithm that tells the colleague where's the best place in the store to take that stock based on a store-specific planogram. Right the way through to our ability now to schedule in Chloe's business, groceries online vans. Hopefully you all do your online shopping with Sainsbury's. When that van is scheduled to go to all the deliveries, again, that's been taken away from a manual Excel-driven process into a machine learning or an adaptive piece of data science that helps us schedule those vans really effectively. And we're now moving on through a whole culture and capability initiative in our whole business to really recognize that data really is our core differentiator. And I said earlier, partnerships around with people like AWS is absolutely central to our ability to do that. Okay, bringing it together.
Bring it all home. So we started 150 years ago with a single proposition and a single format. And in the future, we will look to bring together our multiple brands and propositions. And as we know our customers better than anyone else, we will aim to utilize Nectar and our identity platforms to do so. We will enable amazing cross-group shopping experiences by understanding, anticipating, and then delivering the intent and the mission of our customers. And finally, we at Sainsbury's aspire to be the most trusted retailer where people love to work and shop. So we will look to be increasingly always on, catering for the widest of missions to enable our customers to live well for less. And that can be less cost, less time, or in today's world, even more importantly, less stress.
Thank you. So to wrap it up, I guess we were very keen to be here today to describe our partnership, which we're really proud of. So I think hopefully share something about a 150-year-old retail business that you might be surprised about. But also we wanted to acknowledge the fact that we have a great partnership with AWS. AWS has become a hugely important data center provider for me. But also, when I look at the services and I hear Matt talking about the number of services, we broadly use about 81, 82 services today from AWS. So as builders, and we're increasingly builders, we find access to these services is central to our ability to drive transformation. With that, we'd like to thank you, I think. Nothing else to say. And hopefully, we'll see you in the Sainsbury's stores soon. Thank you.
Thanks a million.